Pregame.com.
And welcome back. Pregame.tv, third of four videos. Ken Thomson, Dave Cokin. Dave going with Utah State over Wake Forest in the initial video. I came back, took UTEP, Texas El Paso over New Mexico State. This game will feature a couple more college teams. Maryland at home under Randy Edsall going up against Dana Holgerson's West Virginia Mountaineers. And Dave, the opener on a neutral field, West Virginia held their own against Alabama.
Yeah, they did.
Unfortunately for Clint Trickett, they dropped too many passes, 8 of them, and they were right in there. Easy cover of the 26.5, 27 points initially opening line, which went down a lot, but still only lose the game by 10.
Yeah, it was an encouraging performance for West Virginia, and they needed something like that coming off what was a really disastrous 2013 campaign. Everything went wrong for them last year. They were one of the bigger disappointments in college football. Not that they were supposed to be a great team, but they weren't supposed to fall off the map as far as they did last season. Holgerson's got a lot of pressure on him this year. He needs to deliver a big winning season. And one of the games that certainly has to be circled on the West Virginia calendar is this one. They got humiliated by Maryland 37-0 last year. It's an obvious revenge spot, but that doesn't mean it's a revenge spot that can't work.
Maryland breaking out new uniforms for this game. They're going to
always got
Star Spangled Banner deal. Yeah, I guess it's something that goes back in the day right there in that area when they the Star Spangled Banner written by Francis Scott Key, all that stuff, and they're going to have actually words on the uniforms.
Really?
But yeah, it's a special uniform that's dedicating everything on an anniversary of the writing of the Star Spangled Banner.
Maybe the guys with the words on their uniforms can do a better job of holding on to the football than they did last week. Yeah, Maryland barely escapes with a win. I'll give them credit. When you're -5 net turnovers, you're generally not going to win the football game. They did manage to get the victory against South Florida last week, but that was an ugly performance by Maryland. They better tighten it up. Otherwise, they're going to get beat in their home field here by this West Virginia team. You know that's coming in very fired up.
West Virginia, one thing I noticed against Alabama, they have good speed, and they were wrapping up as far as their tackling.
Well, look, I wasn't there last year, but it kind of looked like it became a domino principle where one thing went wrong and then everything else went wrong, and it just toppled, and it turned into that, I can't say the word, cluster something. Yeah, that's what it was, okay? That's what it was in Morgantown last year, and the fans were very unhappy about it. It's a fresh start this year, and even though they lost to Alabama, I think coming out of that game, it's like, well, we can wipe that slate clean from 2013, or at least mentally, that's where they should be right now. But they do have pressure on them this weekend, because if they don't win this game in Maryland, it might be a case of the same thing starting all over again, and Holgerson's seat will get warmer and warmer, and they might start losing a bunch of games. So I think this is an absolutely pivotal game for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, it is funny how you get out of that game in Alabama, even though they win by 10 points, their fan base shaking their heads going, what's wrong with their defense? Yeah. West Virginia coming out of it, losing by 10, and their fan base saying, this could be a good season.
Should have won the game.
Right.
They should have won that football game. They didn't. Well, you can afford to lose the Alabama game. Can't afford to lose this one.
There you go. Now, Maryland, of course, like you said, 6 turnovers. C.J. Brown has a couple decent receivers back that he missed last year.
They got weapons. Maryland has been snake-bit by injuries the last 2 years. Wasn't as bad last year as it was the year before, where they ended up at one point with a 5th-string walk-on linebacker, I believe, playing quarterback. It was just a mess. They still had more injuries last year because C.J. Brown got hurt again. This team's going to keep their bodies in the field. If they do, they've got some athletes. Diggs is a terrific football player. You'll see him on Sundays eventually. And there's some other guys on that team that will probably be draft choices, but they've got to put the components together, keep them in one piece, and play to their potential. Maryland's got a chance to make some noise in the Big Ten in their initial season. I mean, the first thought was, well, they're going to get punched around.
Right.
Well, I don't think so. Maryland right now, you can look at them in their division and say, they got a shot to finish 3rd, maybe 4th at the worst, and get themselves a decent bowl bid in that conference. This is a tougher game for them playing out of conference.
Right, you're right, and I think not only Maryland, but Rutgers also has a chance to do some damage in the Big Ten initial year.
The way Nova's playing, he's supernova right now.
There you go, good stuff. All right, this is going to be my play. I'll go ahead, I'll make it official. And I did love the way West Virginia played against Alabama outside of dropping 8 passes. I mean, 5 of them literally would have been big key plays, third down plays, but they didn't come up with them. However, Trickett was solid, and he held his composure, didn't get mad at his receivers. Kevin White's the real deal, had 9 receptions so far, 143 yards and a touchdown. Smallwood pretty good. Thompson, Alford, and then Shell out of the backfield. He's got to do more. So far, only 109 yards and a touchdown in the 2 games. But I like West Virginia, what they did against Alabama, nearly 400 yards of offense. Defense, again, quick to the ball, good wrapping up, but still over 500 yards they gave to Alabama. Came back, did what they're supposed to do to Towson State, beat them 54-0. On the other hand, Maryland, like Dave talked about, struggled against South Florida to hold on to the football. Should have won that game by 3 touchdowns. Instead, they win by 7, do not cover. They'll have to take care of the ball. They opened up with a route against James Madison. No big accomplishment there. Again, Marcus Leak, Stephon Diggs, Deion Long. These are 3 key receivers that C.J. Brown needs to get the ball to. If he can do that, Maryland has a chance to cover the 3.5. But I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to go with West Virginia. I like the speed. I like the way that they get to the ball as far as defensively. And I think West Virginia goes in there, avenges that 37-0 loss from last season, takes care of business, wins the game outright by 7 to 10 points. Dave, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go West Virginia plus the 3.5 on the road.
I can't knock the analysis there. And look, we know one team's got this game circled as possibly their biggest game of the season, and that is the Mountaineers.
There you go. All right, so that's 3 of 4. We'll come back. We've had 3 college videos. We're going to go to the NFL. Dave Cokin's going to have a play on the New York Giants at home off that debacle against Detroit, and they're going to be hosting the Arizona Cardinals, who stole one on Monday night as well from the San Diego Chargers. We'll do that when we come back. Ken Thomson, Dave Cokin, pregame.tv.